Welcome, everybody! Remember, this is an interactive class, so you will need to pause the video to answer the questions or to participate in the related activities. Don't forget to pause the video and then continue.
Hello, my friends. We continue with our Bible study. Today, we will talk about the book of Judges. Hello, Patriarch Abraham. Let's start with our next book. In Hebrew, the book of Judges is pronounced Shoftim. Repeat it with me. Shoftim. The Shoftim or judges were Israelites that ruled and defended the people of Israel for almost 200 years. They were sent by Adonai when Israel was going through very difficult times. The judges rescued the Israelites from their enemies and established justice. They taught the people to obey the Torah, and they brought back peace to Israel in times of war. This is how Shoftim is spelled in Hebrew. Shin, Fe, Tet, Yud, Mem Sofit. Shoftim. Shoftim. This book has 21 chapters, and the tradition believes that it was the prophet Samuel, who wrote it. After the death of Yehoshua, the people of Israel lived in the Promised Land. He gave each person their own house and field. They had everything they needed, but they started to forget about the amazing miracles Adonai performed when he brought them out of Egypt, and they forgot his commandments. They were commanded to take out all the wicked people and their idols. The Israelites could not marry any Canaanite, so they would not sin against the Heavenly Father, worshiping their idols and following pagan traditions. But the people of Israel forgot all that Adonai told them through Moshe and Jehoshua. Instead of stepping away from the wicked people, they befriended them and started to worship their idols. In the first chapters, we see how the Israelites conquered the Promised Land, took possession of it, and how it was distributed among them. We also see how the messenger that Adonai sent to help his people left because they started forgetting about Adonai. Due to their rebellion, Adonai's presence withdrew from them. Soon, the Canaanites began to mistreat them. When the people of Israel were suffering because of the Canaanites, they repented from their evil ways and cried out to Adonai. He heard their prayers, and with love, he delivered them from their enemies. The Heavenly Father chose people among the Israelites and appointed them as judges, as people that would rescue them from their suffering and teach them to obey Elohim. When the Israelites were delivered from their enemies, they turned again and again away from Adonai, doing what was wrong before him. So the enemies went back to steal their food, their animals, took over their houses, and did all kinds of bad things to them. And once again, the Israelites cried out and asked for forgiveness. And Adonai also, once again, kept on sending the judges. Through this, we can learn that our Heavenly Father is so gracious despite our disobedience. He forgives us. But even though He forgives us, we need to know that our disobedience does not please Him. Because the people of Israel didn't destroy the land of the Canaanites as Elohim commanded them, they had to deal with the Canaanites for almost 200 years. Today we will learn about the judges that ruled and judged over Israel during the time of the book of Judges. They were 12 in total, and these are their Hebrew names: Otniel, Ehud, Shamgar, Barak y Deborah, Guidon, Tola, Yair, Jephtheh, Ibzan, Elon, Abdon, and the last one, Shimshon. We know him as the strongest man of all. From all the judges, Shimshon is the most well known. He was a Nazarite, and that means he was dedicated to Adonai. He had a very special calling, and he was born in a miraculous way. His mother couldn't have any children, but Adonai gave her Shimshon, and before being born, he was set apart. He had very long hair in 7 braids. His long hair meant that he was dedicated to Adonai. In the Hebrew Bible, this is called a Nazarite vow. Shimshon defended the people of Israel from their enemies, but he fell in love with a woman that was not an Israelite. She wanted to trick him. She would receive money from the Philistines if she was able to find out where Shimshon got his strength in order to destroy him. Day after day, she kept on asking him how he was so strong, until he was so annoyed that he told her the truth. Delilah got Shimshon to fall asleep on her lap. Then she called for a man to shave off the 7 braids of his hair, allowing the Philistines to capture him as a slave and blind him. Sadly, the presence of Adonai left him, and he lost all his strength. His strength was not in his hair, but rather it was a symbol of the special vow that he had with our Creator. Cutting his hair was in disobedience to the Father. Time went on, and the Philistines were gathering together to worship and make sacrifices for their false god, and they wanted to make fun of Shimshon while they celebrated. So they took him to the temple where all the Philistines were celebrating. And once there, Shimshon asked to be put near the pillars of the temple. As he held on to the pillars of the temple, he prayed to Adonai to come back to him. He realized that his strength came from Adonai, so he asked him to make him strong one last time. He then pushed both pillars with all his might, and the temple came down on all the people in it. Shimshon killed more Philistines when he died than he did while he was alive. Yes, he died, but at the end he was obedient to Adonai. The judges of Israel teach us that when Elohim calls us to do something, we should obey him, doing things according to his will from beginning to end. He is expecting obedience from us. Let's see how much you have learned. How do you spell Shoftim in Hebrew? What is the meaning of Shoftim? Who were the Shoftim and what was their purpose? Why did Adonai send the Shoftim? How many chapters are in the book of Shoftim? What was the approximate time that Shoftim judged the nation of Israel? What's the name of the well-known judge and what is he known for? Have you learned the names of the Shoftim? Write them down. Great job! You did fantastic! Now grab a piece of paper and write down what you think is the most important thing in the book of Shoftim. And don't forget to write the name Shoftim in Hebrew. And so we end our study of the book of Judges. Until our next lesson, Hasag, Hasag, be strong and courageous, and don't forget to study His Word.